Hello again YouTube, this is Derek or Lycan101. Welcome to my channel, and this video today is going to be another Pathfinder product review. This time today's focus is on Pathfinder Campaign Setting Rule of Fear by F. Wesley Schneider. So first things first, if you don't know what the Rule of Fear product is, it is a campaign setting book that talks about solely the land in Galarian called Ustalav. And also, if you've ever read the Pathfinder Tales book, Principles by Dave Gross, or Gross, I can't remember how his last name is pronounced, but excellent book. It also fits very nicely in the land of Ustalav, and works well if you know have ever read it. It's a nice supplement. So, what are we going to be talking about in this product? Well, we've got, in the table of contents, we have the introduction, history, counties, cities and settlements, legends, and hauntings. So, obviously, I'll give you guys a good look at the cover. We got a Nosferatu vampire fighting the iconic paladin of Pathfinder against a backdrop right here in the back over here. A nice creepy castle, and over here on the left, nice lots of bats and a little blood magic going on. And as we open it up, there's a very nice map, get this on the camera, of the country of Ustalav and all of its counties. There's also a nice, down here at the bottom, sites of interest, try to get that. And right there, for those of you that are interested in cartography, the little miles, it's 100 miles along this. It's very nice. And then in the back, if you wanted to make a copy of it or just have a picture for a poster, it's cover but without all the words. It's very nice artwork, as always, as I've come to expect from Pathfinder products. Right here in the beginning it says, this book works best with the Pathfinder role-playing game core rulebook. Though it is suitable for play in any fantasy world, it is optimized for use in a Pathfinder campaign setting. And I would completely agree with that. It's all very focused. However, I will be using this in my own campaign setting. So, first things first, they have an introduction that is, I think, by far one of the best introductions I have ever read to a RPG product, and details several murder entries by a serial killer known only as Dr. D, who has lived for several centuries in the Ustalav region and has killed many people, and have a very creepy photo of Dr. D. And I have to say, with my name being Derek, I was kind of thinking, Dr. Derek maybe? Or, that's just me. Maybe it stands for Dr. Death, but let's get another look at Dr. D. And I'll go ahead and read you this nice little handout that they have that you can make into. As you'll be taking over the case, you might as well have it all. There's been nuts claiming to be him for over 120 years now, but we've never laid our hands on any of them. The killings just go on and on. Some crazy tricks, same reports of that creepy beaked mask, and always another taunting letter found at the scene. The blood trail stretches from Kelifas to Karkau and back again. It's your problem now. Here's hoping it's not your last one. Aldman Case, Caliphus Constably Retired. So it has a very nice little introduction, details all these grisly letters from Dr. D to the government and the police. It's gripping. And there's also a nice little section right here, and these go out throughout the book. Rules of Fear, Building Terror, these nice ways to build fear and really provoke these images and feelings that Ustalav has. So let's keep going. We get into a very nice detailed history of the region of Ustalav and its kings. Here, it's another nice picture of the kings of Ustalav. Goes back all the way and sets up the Immortal Principality, as it's now called. And if you look closely into some of these different dates, you can actually see Paizo setting up their upcoming products, specifically the Carrion Crown Adventure Path, which this is an excellent supplement for. And if you just want to get to know Galarian better, this is another excellent book. I won't detail all of the history because it's several pages, and that would be a video in and of itself as we talked about it. Second part, we get into counties. This is the best part so far about the book, because it details each county, and I believe there are 9 of them. There are 9 counties, who the ruler is, what kind of ruler they are, noteworthy locations, and some other noteworthy people. So it gives you a little bit of history about it, which is nice, and then you can always refer to the front map to try to figure out where you are, and then you can just go from there. So I'm going to name off each of these regions, and then who their ruler is, or leader. The first region is the Amans region, which is ruled over by Count Lucien Galdano, who is a hunter. So, and then you get a nice detailed description of each of these people right here. Try to get this in the camera. This entire column right here, down the whole thing, all the way down to right here, noteworthy personages right there. But this entire, right here, all of that is about the Count. There isn't a whole bunch of crunch to this book. However, he's a neutral good male human aristocrat 2, Ranger 6. That's about it. Next we have the Aradel region with Countess Solomina Venedacula. She's a big woman who's basically trying to keep herself young and looking young. She doesn't want to let anybody know that she's getting old. Barstoy, and its leader, Count Orencian Nesca. Count Nesca. He pretty much looks like that vulture right there. He's in his 90s, and he rules with an iron fist, and the people of Barstoy are terrified of breaking the law. Califas and Prince Audran Ordanti III. There you go, a nice picture of him. Califas is the new capital of Ustalav. It's been moved. You learn about that in the history and in reading these counties, and you get all these little what's the word I'm looking for? You get all these clues, I guess, or rumors. There we go. Rumors and rumor mill and kind of gossip that goes on across this country from different little creepy things. Because you have to remember, Ustalav is, as the book is called, ruled by fear. There are vampires, werewolves, there are things that go bump in the night, witches, bogmen, swamp people, troglodytes. Anything dark and creepy pretty much has its roots somewhere in Ustalav and hasn't let go. Next we have Canterwall and Zoena Thel of the Palatine Council. She obviously is going to get rid of that glare. She has some hero cards in her hand. Then we have Lazarai and the Palatine Council member Rodrif Yarlock, who is a massive man who enjoys hunting werewolves in his free time. Exciting stuff. The Ordranto region and Count Conrest Merlault. You'll notice, if I can get it close enough, yes, that is a human head in a jar. It actually is a deceased family member who worked for the Whispering Tyrant, if anybody knows about him from the Galarian campaign setting book. Whispering Tyrant was a lich who gathered all these followers and tried to take over the world, basically, and was eventually put down and locked in the gallows fire. And one of the one of the Merlault family members decided to work for the Whispering Tyrant, and his head was survived because he was part undead. And now the head whispers dark secrets to the surviving family members to get them to try to do things. Then we have Cenaria and Countess Cassandra Livegrace, who loved, very beautiful woman, loved acting and was an actress, and then suddenly one day she disappeared from the stage and then was found 3 months later in a sewer with no memory of what happened. Here we go. Alcazar and Bishop Yasimdrin Senir, big fat guy. Yes, he's slightly overweight, but don't let that fool you, because anybody who has read Prince of Wolves, you will know Senir and what he really is all about. I won't spoil it for any of you that haven't read it, but it's really awesome. I would encourage reading that book. In addition to this, one of my favorite regions, Varno and Conte Ristomar Tiriac, the poor count who was turned into a vampire and is desperately searching for a way to become human again. Very, very sad. Then we have Versix and Count Hasturin Lowles IV. Very mysterious man who has become very introverted and fired his entire house staff and brought in a bunch of mysterious foreigners and is concocting mysterious experiments from his mansion. Then we have Wieland, and its most notable personages is Alpon Karamark, a very bloody-looking alchemist and some creepy creature over here in this cage, as he does all sorts of demonic and dark experiments, or so the rumor mill says. Then last we have Verlich, and this Verlich is closest to the Gallows Spire, which I mentioned, and its notable personages is Luxia Mersend, right there. And these floating skulls are actually deceased lovers that she has animated their skulls, and they float around her and whisper things, and it's very scary. Next we have Cities and Settlements. This is a very, very good chapter because it provides maps and it provides places of interest and rumors from these different major settlements across Ustalat. So first we have Artists, and it's in this section that becomes one of the only other sections of Crunch, which is the stat blocks from each of the cities that are made up from the Game Mastery Guide, using that same kind of build that they have there in the Cities and Settlements section. So if you've read that section, you'd be familiar with how to use these stat blocks. They're really good stat blocks. The rumor mills are great. I won't go into everything so we can keep this video shorter. So first we have Artists, and I'm only going to show a couple of the maps, so not that one because it's not as big. Then we have Califas, the new capital. Then we have Seska, another small town. Then we have Karkal, city of islands, and where a whole bunch of bards go. Here we have Lepestadt. I'll show you this map. It's pretty cool. Lepestadt, where it's a city of thinkers and inventors. Next we have Tamervana, which sits on the border to the hold of Belkzen, where all the orcs live, and the military there is all concerned about the orcs eventually invading, and they're very concerned, and so they've kind of have like an infighting thing about, oh, the orcs are going to invade. No, they're not this time. Yes, they will. So it's very very divided. Then we have Thrushmore. And, Thrushmore's the last one. I'll go and give you guys a look at Thrushmore. It's pretty cool. Let's see, where is it? Over here. Try to get it on the map. There we go, on the camera I mean. Pier 19, right there. I'll tell you about that rumor because that was pretty crazy. The rumor goes that it's an abandoned pier because for some reason one day a couple of fishermen were out on the pier and suddenly the water started bubbling and then a giant geyser kind of erupted for a second, and then the fishermen were gone, and all that sits at the end of the pier now is a rusting bucket that the two fishermen were going to try to catch their fish in, and nobody goes out on Pier 19 anymore. So, I wonder what really happened. And that's just one example of the kind of mystery or rumor that goes on in the whole city section. This last chapter is the Legends and Hauntings, and is by far my absolute favorite because we are introduced fully to hauntings in the Pathfinder campaign setting. Now what hauntings are they're kind of like encounters or entire encounter stat blocks without all the stat blocks. It kind of gives you a location, if you will, a kind of secretive or mysterious location and monsters that could be in there and kind of a little bit of background about it, but it doesn't spell it all out for you because it allows you as the DM or the GM to make all those decisions yourself and really elaborate on it. So first things first, in the superstition or Legends and Haunting section, we have superstition for all the people in the Ustalav region. So we got another great picture with the iconic witch. And she's being attacked. Get that right up there. Now some dark creatures. It goes into how people feel about animals, fortune telling, graves, bloodlines, if anybody's got secret demonic taints in their heritage, fallen families or secrets in families, commoners, nobles, and common alike. Let's see, I can go ahead and read one of these superstitions. I can go into animals. Most animal superstitions have to do with bad luck, such as cats being able to see one's sins or foxes being red because the first fox was born amid the flames of hell. Thus, it is typically considered unlucky to cross paths with or bring harm to such creatures. So it's just a whole bunch of flavor text about how people feel in Ustav. And what this really does is you can establish as a GM how the region feels about certain things and really get a local culture. And at the same time, as a player, you can really delve and create a deeper level to your character because, say, I'm from the Verlich region next to the Whispering Tyrant. Oh no, that's where I live. Well, I'm going to obviously be afraid of undead. I'm going to have superstitions about seeing black cats because maybe black cats are something to do with the Whispering Tyrant or something. Then we have, like I said, the bloodlines, and then we go into conspiracies. This is excellent. These are small groups that you can establish later or have your players cross paths with and then develop more yourself. My favorite of which is the Harlequin Society. The Cyberates of the Jester Prince. Alignment is lawful evil. Their headquarters is in Karkal, and their leader is Arlecht. It's an incredible how cheaply some people sell their souls. Gasps of gluttonous ecstasy and violent pleasure echo through the sewer grates of Karkal. Hidden amid the city's maze of darkened waterways is the Chapel of Depravities, where the influential and gaily masked members of the Harlequin Society meet to indulge their most forbidden and debauched fantasies. For a pittance of gold, those who receive the Society's gold filigreed invitations may join in the group's secret meetings and have their darkest desires fulfilled by motley-robed acolytes in a pseudo-religious ceremony. Yet while most members delude themselves into believing the Society's mantras of deservingness and illusionary morality, others look on, gathering condemning evidence even as they encourage members to ever darker debaucheries. Only when it is far too late to escape does the Society reveal its chapel Harlequin idol as more than a symbol, but the visage of the devil Olenchino, Hell's harbinger of Galarian's inevitable doom, who through his temptations and mad capers seeks to make the world ready for infernal conquest. That's pretty cool. So you can automatically just make up this entire thing and have all these societies with robed jesters and people doing all sorts of dark deeds. And then we get into the haunting sections, and then we've got a list of, I believe it is, yes, it is 15 different haunts. My favorite of which is Bastard Hall, a dark citadel on a lake that one day the members of the house staff let in a mysterious cloaked man carrying a swaddling cloth bundle, and later that night a black coach rode out from Bastard Hall and requested all of the family members arrive at Bastard Hall as soon as possible. And when they did, they never left. And every century, the black coach rides out again and again and again, searching for somebody to come back to the halls of Bastard Hall. And the Dark Rider invites you to take his ride on the coach and join him in Bastard Hall. But if you refuse, he comes back and then makes you join him. And even though the entire fortress was burnt to the ground by the commoners, a century later, when the mists around the lake revealed the island again, Bastard Hall was back. It was all there. So let's go into it a little bit. We've got inhabitants in the keep. We've got a daughter of Ugathara. We've got Gorgons, Skeletons, Wraiths. We've got Grindelos, Scrags, Water Orms, Daemons, Devourers, Lich, Captured Angel. You have Ghost, Golem, Gugs. And then it gives you kind of like ways that you can talk about it to your players. Introduce the idea is through like rumors. It's called the Ghost Bridge of Larbo, the Fallen Villagers, Macerants, the Spilt Blood of Bastard Hall, the Unearthly Tears. And then it goes into a nice descriptive paragraph, or excuse me, a full column and a half about Bastard Hall and what it is. And it's just these creepy little encounters that you can almost create a full campaign out of. I would love to make Bastard Hall, to just have my characters be in Ustalav at the turn of the century, excuse me, and then they don't know it, but maybe they're all relatives or something, distant relatives were related to one of the servants of Bastard Hall, or maybe they just are going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they're out drinking, and then they walk out from the tavern, and then waiting through the mist is the black coach pulled by the 6 midnight horses, and the doors swing open, and the rider gestures with his hand for them to come, get on the coach. And then they're like, oh, well, what's going to happen? And then whoosh, taken to Bastard Hall and, whisked into untold darkness and mysteries. So yeah, that was just a quick little thing about, here we go, get another nice map. This is for Saffron House, another creepy haunt. So yeah, that is Rule of Fear. That's my review. What are we going to give this book? Personally, I'm going to give this 5 out of 5. This book is incredible. You heard it here first. The first 5-star review. Go get this book. If you're like me and you enjoy the narrative side of the role-playing games, if you enjoy the narrative side of Pathfinder, and you want to put something in Ustalav, if you're running Carrion Crown, if you're running something dark and creepy and you want that more gothic dark tones, if you want all of that creepiness, that vibe that you get from movies maybe like Van Helsing, Underworld, or horror movies in general, pick this up. It is worth it. You've got a bunch of cities that you can throw down. You've got a bunch of rumors and legends and superstitions. It's all here waiting for you. Not a lot of crunch. That's okay, because the crunch is put aside for you as the GM to put in wherever you feel you need it. In the hauntings, in the cities, in the societies, whatever. It's there, purposely left out for you to put in. 5 out of 5. Pathfinder campaign setting. Rule of Fear by F. Wesley Schneider for the Ustalav region, Cursed Land. Go pick this up. 5 out of 5. You heard it here first, people. This has been a Pathfinder product review by me, Leica101. I hope you enjoyed it.